Alright, it's been a minute since we had wet hair theology, and you know what? The reason that these churches are failing the baby formula test is because they don't understand the point of Jesus' parable of the prodigal son. I can't talk too much shit myself. It took me a long time to figure that out, and it was because of my priest explaining it that I finally understood. So if you ever wanted a reason to go to an actual church with actual educated priests, here it is. Pastor Bob out there, whose only qualification is his dad was also pastor, didn't study this shit right to tell you this. The story of the prodigal son, right? Where we have two sons from one guy, one of which says, fuck you dad, give me my inheritance, I'm going off to the world, and then, spends all his money and ends up broke and stupid, and then comes back and gets treated really nicely by his dad. That story, right? That story is really important because it's really scandalous and controversial. And it's scandalous and controversial because the other brother, who faithfully always did everything he was supposed to do, didn't get that treatment. In fact, that other brother, who had always stayed by his father's side, who had faithfully done all his duties, he says as much. He says, Dad, what the hell? My fuck-ass brother runs away, throws all your inheritance money out the door, comes back penniless, and you greet him with a roasted calf? By putting rings on his fingers and your best cloak? What about me? I've done everything right and you never even let me have so much as a goat to share with my friends. What the fuck? And the dad says, well, what are you whining about? You know already what you're gonna get from me. But your brother was dead and now he's alive again. Your brother has come back. Your brother is here with us again. That's cause for celebration. And I never knew what to make about that. Because it just ends there. And I was like, well, what about the brother, right? And so one day we get to that verse, the priest says, well, the whole point is that God's grace is not earned. You don't earn your spot in heaven by doing all the good works and la 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 la. You don't earn God's love, God's forgiveness, God's mercy by any of that. You are not saved from your own actions. You are saved because God has chosen to save you. And there is nothing you can do that will ever permanently separate you from him. And that is the good news. The good news isn't just that Jesus died and came back. The good news is that that whole thing forever changed the way this works. You can never escape God's love. Doesn't matter what you do. Doesn't matter where you are in life. Doesn't matter what you have to do to survive. Doesn't matter what you did yesterday. If you changed your mind today. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Does not matter. Everyone deserves grace. Everyone deserves mercy, forgiveness, compassion. Everyone. And these churches turning people away with the baby formula, they don't get that. They're working off the older brother's frame of mind. That he did everything right and he worked hard, so he should get more. Why should this person who doesn't have any money, who doesn't have a job, why should they get anything when I'm out here working and working and working and no one does anything for me like that? So why should you get... That's the fucking frame of mind they're coming from. Because they are the older brother. Those people saying it's not our obligation to help, they are the older brother in that parable. And they don't fucking get it. And this comment that I got on Facebook, when I posted that as a Christian, I want to see prisons be a place of reform and rehabilitation, not punishment, this comment is also coming from that frame of mind. So I want all these bad people to be coddled and rehabilitated, not punished. Bitch, the rehabilitation is the punishment. The process of accepting your wrongs and committing to changing your ways and making amends for what you've done is the punishment. That's the point. When people make comments like that, it tells me they don't believe in God's grace. They don't believe in his forgiveness. They don't believe in his mercy. They believe in their own fucked up, corrupted idea of justice. They don't believe in God's justice. If they really believed in God's justice and also in the good news of his mercy, grace, and forgiveness, they would, yes, even want to see the worst of us brought back into the fold. That's the fucking point. So yeah, I got problems with internet culture when it's like someone does something wrong and we shun them forever. No, if you're a Christian, you fundamentally cannot hold that idea. If you're a Christian, fuck you and your want for revenge. Fuck you and all this shit about, oh, but they did bad things, but they hurt. Fuck you. As a Christian, you don't get to say shit. It's your job to help these people understand they're wrong and change from it. It's not your job to throw them out entirely. Otherwise, you're the older brother too. Sure, be angry, be hurt, be all these things, but at some point, if you profess the good news, if you are a Christian person, This hard-hearted idea of wanting people to suffer because they did something wrong is fundamentally incompatible with the gospel. This idea of people deserving food, deserving this, deserving that, based on how hard you think they're trying in life, is incompatible with the gospel. If you claim to know Jesus in any capacity, then these frames of mind, these fallen, corrupted, selfish ideas of justice, these capricious, these very hard-hearted ideas of an eye for an eye, they are incompatible with the gospel. These churches are failing the simplest of spiritual audits because they still cannot grasp that. They are still the same faux religious, wannabe fucking goody two-shoes ass religious leaders that Jesus shat on 2,000 years ago. They took the religion of the underdog, of all the freaks and the outcasts and everything else, and they made it back into the same bullshit that Jesus came to turn it over from to begin with. The tax collectors and all these other people Jesus hung out with in his day are today's drug dealers and strippers and whatever the hell else have you. And notice how when someone did a social experiment, right, with those drug dealers asking, hey, can you get me a can of formula? All of the drug dealers they asked, all 7, without hesitation, bought that formula while the church is fucking around making excuses. Because the people who recognized Christ and recognized his message were not the ones that looked righteous. They were the ones that were trying to do whatever the fuck they could in a busted up ass world, and who understood that if they want to eat and if they are understanding of the concept of being comfortable, even doing whatever the fuck they do with whatever judgments you want to pass on what they do, if they understand helping out when someone needs help, there's no fucking excuse for anyone else. They know because they've been there. They know because they also have struggled. They know because they understand. Just like the tax collector beating his breast, God have mercy on me, a sinner. They know. They're aware. And so they're not going to sit here and hold their nose up and make judgments on why you can't afford formula, because they know. Christ is not in your pretty fucking buildings. Christ has nothing to do with your 1,000,002 rules to make yourself look like you are worthy of a place in the community. God has nothing to do with any of you fucking people. And that's why Jesus is out here with the drug dealers, with the snush workers, with the witches, with everyone except you, because you don't understand that shit. Christians are such a fucking failure, and they should know that. They should know that, and they should fucking repent, which doesn't just mean sorry, it means changing your fucking ways.